So this is a brief and more lighthearted and fun recap of my previous video about Trump derangement syndrome, just to illustrate the main points in a way that may have a broader appeal in today's meme world. So basically I'm going to illustrate how the view of Trump varies across the scale of consciousness, starting with it below 200 levels. So this is a classic anti-Trump person below 200, and he's screaming Trump is Antichrist, Hitler and all these things you hear all the time from the media and everything, and he is completely programmed by the media and believe everything they say. And the reality is that he is more than 65% negative or Antichrist shadow himself, and is therefore mostly run by the collective shadow that's threatened by the changes Trump is fronting. So he's projecting big time and continuously voting for the deep state tyranny with his victim abuse level of consciousness. So just like every force is a counterforce, this is the mega dude below 200, and his reality is that he is actually consumed by nationalism that fills his inner void, and is using mega as an excuse to take out his anger and his hatred on what he perceives as degenerate leftists. So these are the NPCs, as they are called, the non-playing characters. And there are a lot of these people below and above 200, and they are basically, their reality is that they're just going along to get along, because they have no distance to their own minds, so they just believe whatever current thing the deep state controlled media pumps into the mass consciousness via propaganda. And these people just repeat that and what they watch on TV, and basically the TV and the media is thinking for them. They have no independence because they have never reflected on or observed their own thoughts and mind, and they have no distance to it. So these are what I call the quasi-intellectual echo chamber bros, the people who always ask for source and repeat trust the science like a mantra. They are full of contradictions because they're basically in the middle of the scale, like in the higher 200s and lower 300s and those around those areas. So they're like a mixed bag in complete programming and trying to think for themselves and be independent, but they're not really pulling it off. You know, they're like a mixed between both worlds. And the reality is that these people, they question everything with extreme skepticism to trying to be smart. But the problem is they never actually question any of their own indoctrinated assumptions. They never looked at their own programming. They just took for granted that they already know everything, and they can question everything on the basis of where they are and their perception from their level, because they're a little bit above the norm level or the average level. So they think they're a lot smarter than they are, but they're not really that perceptive because of this. They never question their own assumptions, and that's the key if you want to go higher on the scale. So this pretty much reflects the 400s and a more reasonable, rational view of things. And this guy is pragmatically voting for Trump because he wants a good economy and because he wants common sense policies, but he's mainly focused on improving himself and provide for a good life for his family instead of wasting energy on things he cannot change. But in reality is also he cannot stand the leftist lunacy, but he doesn't want to waste any energy fighting it. Instead he just focuses on the daily battles that he can actually win. So this is a very pragmatic and rational approach. You don't really involve yourself too deeply in the craziness, and you just try to do your best in a world that's crazy. So this is the view in the 500s, and it's basically that Trump is an agent for radical change, dismantling the deep state on the 3D level as the collective shadow is being dismantled in the 4D astral. And he's also freaking hilarious.